is Kirsty Dignam, and I'm here to look at the energies this week with today's Monday's Musings. Now, I'm really struggling this morning to get comfortable, to be comfortable with the camera in my face, to be comfortable in the chair that I'm sat in, to be comfortable in my own skin, actually. And I can really, really feel that this week in particular, with many, many shifts and changes that have occurred to almost integrate and resettle into what has happened. I also feel, when we go through something that's traumatic or a shock to the system, and that can come through things that we hadn't planned, but also things that we have planned. If we've tapped into certain energies, or we've thought about certain situations, or we've become concerned about things, or any moment that's taken us out of the present moment can actually cause quite a shock to the system. And I really feel like this week, taking time to bring back all our energy into one place, to really integrate every aspect that we may have pushed away, knowing or unknowing, of ourselves over the last few months and years. No, it is last few months actually. And bringing that forward now. With that, I feel a sense of familiarity, and it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, like I don't want to go back to the old ways. This week in particular, there feels like a time of rehabilitation, a time of regaining a trust in ourselves, a time of respecting what worked. Okay, now we can often think, I need to change X, Y, and Z and I'll get rid of everything. And actually some aspects, we can look back through our life and see that we've done the same things, and we can think that's a pattern that needs to change, that's not necessarily good. But actually underneath, what was the medicine that ran through that? What was the one thing that you can take forward? What was the structure now that is asking to come back, to be reintegrated, almost on a cleansed, different vibration? Okay, let me just take a swig of my tea. The other thing I noticed this morning was I was really pleased to find some honey in my cupboard. Really, really pleased that there was some sweetness coming with what I was putting into my body, but some sweetness coming with the messages that wanted to come through. It felt like it was really needed to take some time and just feed a little bit from that nectar of life. Especially as we start to lead into the holiday season. For some people, it gets very busy. We get very out of place, and we can get very understandably concerned about how we're going to do things that we want to do over this season, like celebrations and presents and food, and but remembering to really keep that merriment inside of you as well, this year in particular, to really look at what it is you're choosing to celebrate. Okay. So I don't want to get too much in. I say I don't want to get too much into that, but obviously that's the other thing. One of the things that came through this morning was, because something doesn't resonate, doesn't mean we can't be aware of it. And it doesn't mean that we might not be asked to speak on that or observe that, witness that. So if something doesn't resonate with us, we are actually in a prime position to observe and witness that, because it doesn't trigger us, right? It doesn't cause a reaction in us, which means we are coming at it from no, or at least reduced, judgments and preconceived ideas. And that is really, really, really important this week. So avoiding the knee-jerk reaction of, oh no, that doesn't relate to anything that I do, because actually you've changed. We've all changed, and there's great strength in something that might not resonate with you being looked at in a different way. So my husband was rubbing my feet the other day in front of the fire, and he has this innate way of knowing exactly where my feet hurt. He is, for all intents and purposes, a healer, like us all, and I cannot stress that enough, like us all. Okay. But it isn't his chosen career. It isn't what he wants to get into. It's an everyday part of his life. It's not separate from him. And that feels like key this week, to really recognize we're all connected to these energies, all of us, whether we want to call it healing or psychic, or we all have this ability of connecting to a higher consciousness than our own physical aspects. every single one of us. And this week, being a bit more open to that, I really, really, really sense a new wave of individuals coming in to do what it is they came here to do, just in the way that they came here to do it. So, you know, this week, maybe not looking at people and thinking, I don't do it that way, I don't do it that way, and just do you, just do you. That brings me full circle to the whole energy for this year, which I'd actually forgotten. 2022 was the year to do you. Have we forgotten this? You know, I'm literally just remembering that now. The beginning lessons at the beginning of this year, the lessons at the beginning of this year are about to come full circle for us to see them finally before we go into 2023. So is there anything else? Why the discomfort? Recognizing when something returns, it might not be that it's returning for you to heal it, shift it, work at it, look at it, remove patterns, but actually it might be coming home to where it first came from and actually needing to be just encompassed back into the body. You know, really looking at what did work for us, really with great humility this week. I learned this, and this. Thank you. I can bring that all back from a different place now, a higher vibration. Okay, is there anything else? So what I'm hearing is when we don't resonate with something anymore, when we don't relate to something anymore, it's because we've actually healed that aspect. So by connecting to the healing that has occurred, that can then be witnessed. We can then witness whatever it is we're not resonating with, this video included. So the other thing that came up was I started to look for lots of different cards and think, what was I going to talk about this week? And thankfully it doesn't last long for me. I just kind of get out of the way. But there was a little bit of less is more this week. Trusting that the tools that you use are tools to express something from a higher vibration, and it really doesn't matter what those tools are. What matters is the interpretation of them, which comes down to how we choose to view something. So being very aware of what we are translating and where from. You know, are we translating it from our physical experiences, just as valid in that situation? Are we translating it from a higher perspective? Really knowing what we bring to the table this week. Okay, so with that in mind, I feel nothing in relation to the energies of this week other than a little bit of a concern of it not being enough. Of course it's enough, you're enough, we're always enough in every moment. And a little bit of becoming more comfortable with who we are by bringing back the parts that we've pushed out that we weren't comfortable with this week. So from that perspective, with no views, no expectations, which feels like key, no expectations of how things are panning out, we can look at the energies this week and how to best navigate them, which feels like the answer has already been given. No expectations of how things are going to pan out, being in the moment and observing them and ourselves in that. How comfortable are we in that actually? How comfortable are we? You know, we can talk about being in the moment, we can talk about 2022, the year to be you and everything else, but actually how comfortable are we with ourself? How comfortable are you as the person that you are? Really going to come to light this week. You know, we have temperance at the bottom, we have integration, and it is that, you know, the more comfortable we are with who we are as a person, the less likely we are to judge other people, the less likely we are to give away that energy or push away that energy. So when there's a part of us that we're not comfortable with, we push that to one side, right? So we're not living our fullest vibration, and because of that we've made space for other energies to come in, you know, be that from the news or relationships or old patterns and beliefs of other people. The more solid and full you can be in your own presence, in your own skin this week, the more comfortable you're going to be with whatever life throws at you. Basically, that is what I feel, whatever life throws at you. Okay, right, so energies this week. Gosh, no wonder I wanted the honey. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot of court cards in the cards this week. Now, when I see a lot of court cards, yes, we can say that's a lot of people, but we can also say it's a lot of energies. So, for example, the page in the tarot is normally that transition period, and the queens are normally very nurturing and very flowing type energies. Now, that is stereotypical, so be aware of that this week. When it comes to the different energies, being aware that our own energy has changed, and that means so too has the energy of others, and maybe not having so many stereotypical views of how people once were or how we once were. Because the conflicting energies also feel like they're coming from within us as well, like we're acting from a place of where we once were, not recognizing where we actually are. Okay, so the energy overall this week at the bottom of the pack is the 8 of Air, and it is the 8 of Swords, which is interference. Okay, so really, really, really looking at where our head is at. Looking into our aura this week. So what I see here with all these feathers in the aura, all these ideas in the aura, all the mental, it almost feels like mental problems, but they're actually aspects of the one idea. So what do they all have in common? You know, when we think of the 8 of Swords, we do think of mental imprisonment, but we also recognize that we can get ourselves out of that quite easily with self-mastery. It's the number 8. Okay, so all these aspects, particularly in our auric field, because remember, our auric field is our hard drive. Okay, it is, we can clear this energy as much as we like, but unless we look at our aura, we're going to keep replacing the same energy. So really connecting to our auric field this week to see what ideas are there, what values, what opinions, and what judgments are there, first and foremost on ourselves. If we can look at the judgments that are on ourselves and embrace them, you know, we can be minding our busyness instead of pointing fingers at other people. And that way, that interference, that static energy between the conflicting people, energies, whatever this week, is going to lessen. Okay. This week, really recognizing what every aspect has in common. And the answer is going to be us. You know, whatever's going on in our life, what does it have in common? Us. So what do we need to do about that? But also keeping that in balance, because that could actually go the other side, the other spectrum, on a almost egoic level, that everything has to be a mirror of me. So I must work on this. Really finding presence and finding your truth in that. How true is that? So the other card that we have overall for this week is the Ace of Earth. Now, this is the Ace of Pentacles, and I do keep seeing the corn symbolically actually throughout the day. So I'm not surprised to see this card come up, and that feels relevant. Whatever you see this week, throughout the day, throughout the week, that keeps coming up, oh gosh, I'll just remember something. But anyway, that keeps coming up, be aware of that. Be aware of that could be a physical beginning for you. That could be a physical nudge in the direction that you could be going, or may want to be going, or even being guided to be going towards. Okay, so the corn is abundance. The corn is obviously linked to the feminine and harvest and the goddess, but also a part of a stable diet, the corn, okay? And the seeds here continue to grow. So remembering, whatever you put in place now, and I will say try and do it from a perspective of this time next year. What is it you're hoping to gain by this time next year? And patience is going to be key here with any seeds that are planted this week. 9 months, that's what I'm hearing. You know, it takes 9 months to grow a baby. So give ourselves, if we want a new life or a new way of doing things, then give ourselves that time. Okay. So, I just come over ever so cold. On the Monday, we have the Son of Water. And the way that the deck is lying is he is actually looking, so it would be the Knight of Cups. He's actually looking towards the Ace of Earth. So really going within and reflecting what is being offered to us from ourselves as well. Okay, is it a reflection of where we're at? Do we resonate with it, or do we not resonate with it? And if we don't resonate with it, you know, maybe we have an incredible opportunity to witness it for what it is, to actually see it for what it is from an angle that doesn't come with judgments and views. Okay, So, you know, in this cup, in this card, he is stood in the water. He has the moon around him, and he knows that they and he are all one and the same. Okay, so really being aware of that today on the Monday. On the Tuesday, we do have the Eight of Cups, and we have, on this deck in particular, it's called Stagnation. But what I actually see here is a chance to put all the dishes together, a chance to actually see what's stacking up and to start washing them now. Someone's got to wash them, right? Someone's got to say, actually, in order for things to move forward, this all needs to be cleared and cleansed and packed away now, okay? Because it's done its job. Half of these pots, half of these sources that we're getting our emotional sustenance from are cracked and broken. They're going to leak anyway. So really looking on the Tuesday, where are we getting our fill from? Okay, and is it working for us anymore? On the Wednesday, we have Father of Earth, which is the King of Pentacles. So we've gone from that seed to a whole bucket, a whole basket full of seeds here. Yeah, a real abundant type energy on the Wednesday. And I really don't feel like I want to add anything to that. It can be that simple. You know, if we look at what is being reflected to us on the Monday and we clear out what no longer feeds us or others on the Tuesday, come the Wednesday, we can really feel as if we're in a very grounded, abundant, dependable place. On the Thursday, we then go into the Queen of Cups, which is the Mother of Water. So we look at that flow. Okay, and we can nurture that flow. Really, really beautiful energies on the Thursday. Just struggling to focus there. And what I'm actually seeing is her necklace reminds me of my necklace. So on the Thursday, if we're struggling to focus on where the flow is, step back, look at ourselves. How in flow are we before we provide that flow for others? Really stepping back and looking at what cups are we allowing this energy to flow from. Is it the Sun of Water, you know, the reflection of the moon, the cycles, the flow of the ocean around us, emotional well-being and stability? Is it the Eight of Cups, stagnation? Are we giving from a place where actually we're leaking out energetically? Okay, so really bringing, every time that happens this week, and it feels like it will happen quite a bit or has the potential to, every time that has the potential to happen, really coming back to the Father of Earth, really coming back and ensuring that our masculine actions are connected, rooted and grounded from all aspects of our body. Yeah, how comfortable are we? Are we holding on tight to something? Are we willing to share? Really feeling into what's going on for us is going to be the key, because come the Friday we have the Sun card, and I do believe, yes, it is our only major arcana this week, the Sun card. Okay, really opening ourselves up to the light that we are and really allowing that to reflect in everything that we do, ourselves included, and just bringing that back home. So I'm looking at the Father of Earth now, and yes, he has corn, okay? Yes, he has abundance, but what is our abundance? It's our light. It's the one thing we share that no one else can, okay? It's us, 2022, the year to do you. It's that that's coming back home this week, and it's that we're being asked to reintegrate, to rebalance, to feed from, to share from. So we then have on the Saturday the Four of Cups, but in this deck it's actually called abundance. Okay, so recognizing that when things are that, yeah, there's a big difference between stagnation and stillness. Okay, and that feels like key. There's a big difference. So stagnation, there's nothing in the cup. There is nothing to be grateful for. There's no sustenance there. There's no yeah, it's empty, it's dry, it's arid, and it's just leaking energy everywhere. Whereas the Four of Cups, where a lot of people can show a bit of apathy actually. Oh, it's, you know, things aren't happening quick enough, or I'm bored, or, you know, I'm not sure. What happens there is we start to question what's going on, but actually make the most of those moments this week, where there is calm, where it does feel as if we're full to the brim of everything that we need. There are going to be those moments there, and if we can make the most of those moments and ground into those and share from that flow and shine from that place, and, you know, see that reflected in our world, within and around us. Well, on the Sunday, that's where we get the Two of Pentacles, the change. That's where we start to really feel the growth. And what I see here is our spiritual potential coming down into our physical body on another level, but making the space for that this week. Vital that we make the space for that. Okay, so let's have a little... So I do feel that actually there may be, or it may be a good time to detox the system, to allow things to flush and flow out of us, the toxins this week, and to make space for that, to honour that process rather than fill the gap with more things. Just it's kind of like the body is releasing, and what we're doing is stopping that by putting more stuff in, and more of the same stuff in as well. Okay, so where are we going to go with that? So let's step back. That feels like key. Step back. Always step back. If it feels like it's draining, if it feels like it's leaking something, if it feels like it's not sustaining you, step back. Step back. You're not asked to be involved, you're asked to be witnessing. Step back. Okay, right, so we then have 1, 2. I feel the weight of that. I feel the physical weight of that on the body. We have 1, 2, 3 pentacle cards, which is a time of deliverance. It is a time of creativity. It is a time of coming together, working together with everything that we've learned over the year and actually creating results. But it is the 3, okay? So it is early on in the process, and remembering that is going to be what initiates the change. So we have the Ace and the 2 of Pentacles, and then the Father of Earth, which is the King of Pentacles. So planting a seed, tending to the seed, planting a seed, tending to the seed, giving it time to grow, giving it time to change. You know, when we receive something, when we see something, when something triggers us, rather than acting immediately, pause, wait, be that King of Pentacles. What am I gaining from this? Where is the abundance in this for all involved? How are the seeds of what I want for next year being planted? What needs to change? Okay, really taking that time this week. We then have 1, 2, 3, 4 cup cards, which is the 8 of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the 4 of Cups, and the Sun of Water. Sorry, I'm listening to my dog, bless his heart. He's having a little whine. So interesting. This week, my dog hurt his back leg. So we are having to slowly but surely rehabilitate him, and he doesn't like it. He wants to go out for long runs. He feels ready, and he is mentally ready. Physically at the moment, there is healing that needs to occur, and that feels like key this week. Mentally, we may feel ready. It's ensuring every aspect of our body is ready. Okay, so we do have 4 cup cards. You know, it is about taking those moments and allowing them to do what they need to do, particularly when it comes to emotional healing this week. That feels like key. And I have to keep reminding my dog that he hasn't done anything wrong. You know, that life has just sent him a curveball, and he's hurt his leg as a result, and actually as his guardian, just to take time. So whatever it is you're trying to create this week, whatever it is you're trying to bring into fruition for next year, take time, be the guardian of that, and really, really nurture that, so that you can see that by nurturing that, you are actually nurturing yourself. Okay, so whether that's a loved one that's struggling, whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship that you want, regardless of what it is, nurturing that situation needs to nurture you also, and vice versa. Ensure that that is the case this week. Okay, we don't have any wand cards, which is interesting, but we do have the Sun, which is the major arcana. So, you know, it is knowing that our spirit comes from this very life-giving force. Okay, our soul vibrates with the same energy as the Sun, and everything in our life vibrates at that energy also, or has the potential to. So if it isn't, what do we need to open up to? What do we need to bring in? How are we radiating who we are? Have we shrunken down? Perhaps this week in particular, really, really stepping into the vibrancy of life that is available by being who you are in every moment, because that is going to be the life-sustaining force, here we are, that we all need, that everybody needs. The world needs you to be you. Okay. Hello, my darling. So we then have one sword card, which is the Eight of Swords. Okay, so it is about recognizing here that you can free yourself simply by realizing that the very things that imprison you come from your own wings. The very things that are holding you restricted, and I'm going to say limited, come from your own ability to fly here. So it is about finding the medicine in the situation, and it is about opening up and acknowledging that the more you embrace yourself, the more able you are to embrace others. The more you open up to who you are, the more able you are to do what it is you came here to do. And that really, really, really feels like key this week. So I'm going to put those cards back. My dog's shaking it off, and if there's any tip that I can give you, it is that. Shake it off this week. Anything that doesn't resonate with your vibration, shake it off. Because we have at the bottom of the pack the Seven of Pentacles, which in this one is actually depletion. So really looking at the growth that is occurring. Is it growth? Really, really looking at that. And integration, temperance, balancing out now. Okay, what story is it you are going to weave for yourself and your ancestors? What story is it you're going to weave for yourself next year? Where would you like to be? What can you start to put into place for that now in order to bring it into a reality, in order to start crafting and creating? My dog is drinking lots and lots of water. What do you thirst for? This week, really feeling into that, watching it be reflected back and drinking from the cup that is you. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.